Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gridiron 2023. Dr. Ron Paniwaz, football MD, and Professor Larry Kelly, the teacher of all things football related around Lawrence County, joins us for another fun-filled week of Gridiron. Larry Kelly is a member of the Luxembourg, Garbutt, Kelly & George law firm, which sponsors our show, and he's also the varsity baseball coach at Shenango High School. Larry Kelly, welcome aboard, sir.
Hey, listen, happy to be here. And you can tell the director of the Groove Ship, the music's getting better every week. I don't have to listen to that elevator music anymore, man. We got a little pep in our step at the beginning of our podcast. That's what I'm talking about. I kind of like it. Gets me fired up and ready to go.
All right. Okay, so this week on the show, we're going to talk about an athlete of the week who delivered in the clutch in a nice win, nice home win. Then we're going to have a topic. It'll be a fun-filled game for Larry Kelly to play.
There you go.
So we'll see if he's up to the challenge of that one. And then our final segment will be the schedule for the week. And just a reminder going into that the schedule starts a little bit earlier this week. We have a Thursday night game. So if you remember, Larry, back like when I was a kid, in the late 70s, early 80s, they would have a special Thursday night edition of NFL football. That was special back then. You know, they only had it once a season, if that. Well, that's what this is like. This is a special Thursday night edition.
That'll be a great game too, I think. So
yeah.
It's playing under the lights. The only game in town, I believe it's the Scotties and the Wildcats, right?
That is correct.
And the Wildcats coming off a big win, and you're going to tell me about Colton Fedrizzi. That family has good genes. I can still see his sister Emily knocking down those threes in the playoff run that the Wildcats had to the Whitfield title last year. So tell us about Colton and why he's athlete of the week.
Colton Fedrizzi, a 6'3", 215-pound senior wide receiver linebacker. He had 9 catches for 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 24-19 come from behind home win over Riverside. His touchdown receptions came on passes of 20, 73, and 5 yards, again, in a 24-19 win over Riverside. And, Larry, this is coming from a Shenango team that I think you'd agree would probably prefer to have its success on the ground. And last week, you know, they did a lot of passing last week and to success as well.
And they passed with the first team quarterback being injured. Sam Patton got injured early in that game and had to leave. And but Sammy Myers came in there and, man, he was slinging it. I actually watched the game on Lawrence County Sportsnet. Great win for the Wildcats. They were down with about a minute and a half to go in the game. And before Sammy Myers ran it in for the 2-yard go-ahead touchdown with less than a minute to go, he threw a great pass to one of my guys, Trey Ross, who made a great catch, contested catch on the sideline to bring the ball down to the 2-yard line, and then Shenango scored on the next play. But Colton Fedrizzi, wow, what a game he had. He was just spectacular, and the Wildcats needed it because it looked for the longest time like Riverside was controlling the game. Riverside rushed for 304 yards in the game and had a total of 428 total yards. But when it counted the most, the Cats stood tall. There was a pretty bad injury in that game, too. Another one of my guys, Mike Egito, was injured, and they were really concerned about him. And thank the good Lord, he's out of the hospital. He's home now. He's probably not going to play for a little while. He had a neck injury, a head injury, and what they discovered was this kid who's as tough as nails was playing with a broken hip that nobody really knew about. So the good news for the Wildcats is looks like Mike Egito is going to recover. While Sam Patton is out with injury, it looks like Sammy Myers is going to be able to handle the quarterbacking duties. And Colton Fedrizzi, just like his sister, stood tall when it counted the most.
Yeah. Colton Fedrizzi now has 12 catches on the year for 202 yards. That was a big win against Riverside. Riverside won last year's matchup, and gives them a good bit of momentum going in. As you mentioned, we have Shenango at Union this coming week. Gives them good momentum for that game, a 2-game winning streak heading into that game.
Big game. It'll be a big game for the Wildcats. And the impressive thing about Colton is he's averaging almost 20 yards a catch, and that's impressive at the high school level. And he'll need another big game. Union's tough. They got beaten by Cornell last week, and I'm sure they were stung by that. And I think this is the first conference game for both teams, is it not, coming up on Thursday?
Yes, this is the conference lid lifter for both teams.
Yeah, should be a great game. But congratulations, Colton. Great game. He doesn't want his sister to steal all the headlines, and the Wildcat family. That was a great game. Very deserving of athlete of the week. But there was a lot of Wildcats that stood tall in that game, and he being the tallest of the Cats that day. Well deserved.
Yes, I echo those, not only those sentiments regarding Colton Fedrizzi, but also the good news that we're hearing on Michael Egito and his injury situation. As you mentioned, he is home and recovering, so that's great news. One step at a time, certainly, and great to hear Michael Egito. Certainly a scary moment on Friday night, but the news continues to get better each and every day.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a really, really tough kid. Great family, good people. And, the Wildcat family really circled the wagons when he got hurt. And, the prayer chains were going up, and it's good news. He's going to recover, and that's always good news. And good news that the Cats pulled out a really, really tough one, and have a great game coming up Thursday night. Should be a great game. Union Shenango, always a great game.
All right. Very good. Colton Fedrizzi is our athlete of the week for his 9 receptions for 167 yards and 3 touchdowns. Coming up next, we have another fine game to play with Larry Kelly. It's a fun one, so you won't want to miss it. Stay tuned right here on Gridiron.